Two are in their own rooms and they're loving it.
Okay.
Get close to the mic.
Remember to not be too far from the mic, and we are rolling, guys. So
Okay.
cooking and ready to go.
All right. Well, I don't really want to start with like a welcome to the podcast.
No, just yeah.
So we'll just keep talking that Luna moved to a big bed,
Yes.
and then she has to go stay with Noah when you have guests.
That still has not been decided.
Okay.
But that is the most likely scenario, yes.
Who could handle the biggest complex when they're older that they got booted from the room every time the grandparents were there?
Let me answer the question with a completely different answer for a question that you didn't ask. Sienna, the oldest, has a chair, kind of like a couch piece, chair, whatever, next to her bed. And Luna often
She's already in there.
walks in there and sleeps there for a couple of hours.
Yeah.
During nighttime, so she's not by herself. I think she's the one that is feeling the most the difference of
Sure.
all three together in a room, and now
Yeah.
everyone has their own space. She's kind of like,
I mean, your whole
no,
life you've had
I'm gonna
two
go sleep with
sisters
somebody right now.
here. Yeah. That's got to be tough.
Yeah,
So
I
that
got
will be
I got
perfect.
that opportunity of having my own room when I was 23 years old or 22
That's
years
when you
old,
got your own room?
something like that. Yeah,
Yeah. You're the middle.
I am the middle
You're
child.
the
Yes,
middle. Yeah. I've never met your older brother.
Uh,
Have I? Maybe at the wedding. but
wedding.
who
Yeah,
knows?
at the wedding,
Right.
it would be maybe the only time.
And it was like I'm already friends with two of the brothers. I don't know. I can't handle.
I mean, he's been in Nashville a couple of times, but not as
Right.
often as Fernando. Yeah.
Well, you and Fernando have the most friends here.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. Definitely me. I have the most friends
you live
of
here.
all of us because I live here.
You
I've
live
lived
here.
here for almost 10 years now, yes.
It's been 10 years.
9.5, almost
Okay.
10, yeah.
Where were y'all living before we got Mitchell?
We lived in Brentwood
Okay.
for 1
Oh,
year.
yeah, in like a townhouse. or
Neighbors
something?
Corner,
Yeah.
Vicksburg,
Yeah.
townhome, something like that.
Okay.
Not our style necessarily. We're not very
Right.
Brentwood.
I don't know that.
Nothing wrong with that.
We all.
Something's wrong with that,
I
but
don't
not
know that
us.
we all
Yeah.
socialized at Jamie and Diego's house as much.
We
or
didn't.
ever.
We probably had people over once.
Right.
I drove to the Brits in East Nashville very often,
Yeah.
and I think it was just destiny for us to end up East Side.
East Side. Yeah. I feel like you guys are true East Siders. Like y'all won't actually live.
We've
anywhere else.
pretended that we wanted to leave a couple of times,
I remember
and you probably
you
remember that,
didn't.
and we
You
failed
didn't.
every time. So now we are on our third
East Nashville.
East Nashville house
Yes.
in 8 years or so.
Yeah.
Yeah. We love moving. Well, I don't mind it as much.
No, you
Jamie,
really
my
do.
wife,
Uh,
dislikes it quite a bit. But you got to do what you got to do, right?
Yeah, but you guys moved. You moved into Mitchell. You had 3 babies there, and as soon as the third baby was born, you moved.
Correct.
And then a year later,
2 years.
2 years. Okay.
So it was our primary residence 2 years
Yes.
to get that advantage, which
Oh,
we
okay,
can
right.
dive into that if you want to go there. But yeah,
2
we
years,
had
You moved.
yeah.
Which I think good timing because they all got really big, and that place does not have outside for big girls.
Correct. So the first house, great investment, beautiful home, 1954 ranch.
Mm-hmm.
Only one bathroom in the main floor, and then a
That's
second
right.
bathroom in the basement.
That's right.
Finished-ish
Yeah.
basement.
It's good. It's a good
and
bathroom.
we remodeled the bathroom downstairs, and it was great. But it's not like no one wants to go down to the basement to go to the bathroom, right? Like it's not
Or
very practical.
shower. Yeah.
And when we learned that we were having a third kid, this is in the middle of COVID,
Yep.
we started looking for a house with more bathrooms. That was
Yes.
literally the conversation. Like, all right, so we're gonna have another kid. We need more bathrooms. Go.
Yes. And you
That's-
found that. You found a lot of bathrooms.
We found 3.5 bathrooms. That was great. And but then that house, another good investment. I feel like, but it doesn't have
No yard.
I mean, it has
It's got
green
like community
space,
yard.
community yard, that
Yes.
type of stuff.
It's a good
But
concept, but as the
Right.
girls got bigger, what I like that you did that I feel like I want to talk about is the way that you maximized what's going on at Mitchell because you retained that house. We rented out. You also sold the backyard.
Correct. We did an HBR, sold the
Yes.
backyard, and with
Yes.
that, we used for a down payment
Bought the
for
second
the other house. So
Yeah.
essentially, it was no cash coming from us
Right.
to buy the second house,
Right.
which was a house that, I mean, it's a price probably 25% higher than Mitchell.
Right.
And even with the HBR or post HBR, Mitchell retained most of its value.
Right.
Like no change
Right.
whatsoever.
And that
right?
I feel like that was one of the reasons you're able to do the HPR because from when you bought Mitchell to when you made the HPR, the equity went up.
Oh, yeah.
In just the house and the lot. So that they could stand on their own, a lot and a house. And then even since because I guess you've owned Morning Stroll for
3 years now.
3 years. Yeah.
No, we signed the
and
contract.
that
Right, like we
equity
signed a contract
is-
like at some point, probably late 2020.
Right. It was new construction.
It was new construction.
Yeah.
And so we moved in, I believe, between April and July in 2021. Yeah, that would make sense. So it's been 3 years. Yeah.
Okay. Yep.
I think we got very lucky with kind of like that very fast,
Yeah.
like the very
guys
fast
were a
paced
big
thing that
swing
happened
there.
with COVID, right? Because I remember if
But I think even before that, because you would have bought that in 2016.
so we bought Mitchell in 2016. We bought it under 300K
Right.
in East Nashville, right? Which like that's
and like a whole house under
a whole house
300K.
and almost an acre.
Yes.
It's a double lot, right?
Yes.
And then so we do the HBR.
Because you
house
gained
was
some
already-
equity between 2016 and 2020 anyway.
Oh, yeah.
Because I
Oh,
feel
yeah.
like equity, it was just like on the rise and interest rates are
I
down and stable and whatever.
I mean, it
And
was
then 2020,
already
and it's
crazy.
just-
Yeah. We got in that curve like right before it
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
kind of went crazy in East Nashville, and
Yes.
then COVID made everything crazy.
Everything extra crazy.
We got very lucky because we did the HBR. We bought the new house, but actually, I don't know if you remember this part, but I was traveling to Mexico to tell my parents that we were pregnant with Luna.
Okay.
And as I'm traveling, it's when we're mid transaction for buying the new house. And I
don't
remember being,
those specifics, but I remember your wife being unwell.
well, yes, yeah, that part, it's always, yeah. I mean, well, she was pregnant. It was after
Pregnant
COVID
and
with two
moving,
kids,
like,
and then
buying a house
Every
and-
trip that I take,
Yes.
being by yourself with three kids,
It's a lot.
It's
It's a lot. She's
so much.
a effing rock star.
She is. She
Yeah.
really is. Yeah.
Yeah. Queen
That's
of the moms, honestly.
queen of the
Yeah.
mom land.
Yeah.
That's right.
And the fact that she still will be like the ringleader of we need to get together, we need to plan a brunch, we need to do the things.
Yes.
Let's-
Well, she's also a teacher,
yes.
so she is with kids and talking to kids and being talked to by kids
24/7.
24/7,
Yeah.
right? So I can understand why she's
No,
kind of
I
like,
can
I need some
understand
adult
it.
time with someone,
Yes.
someone else than me.
I can understand.
she has
but-
me every day.
But what makes her the rock star is that she also still has the energy to go, okay, girl time, mom date time, play date time. Like she still has
Yeah.
the energy to do that. Because me not being a teacher and one kid, I'm still like, ugh, now I gotta go hang out with the moms tonight. Like, now I gotta like change my outfit, go to dinner at 7. But that's also I don't have 3 kids and I'm not a teacher.
And
Yeah.
that was probably the case before kids and
No,
back in the day.
for me,
Yeah,
for
yeah,
me,
for you,
yeah,
personality-wise,
no, yes,
we've never known you for
yes,
being kinda
no,
like, oh, here comes-
I feel like I'm so high key when I'm at work,
Right.
in public, talking to people that it's very necessary for me to be.
the social part, yeah. Like
Super
you're not
low-key when I'm
party.
not.
Yeah, you're not
Yeah.
a butterfly at a party, but you're
No,
very
but
hyper at work.
First of all, I
yeah.
am. And I have to be there. I am.
But
I'm
sure.
still a Gemini. I'm still a Gemini.
I don't know what that means, and I'm against anything that has to do with zodiac defining people. This is my official statement.
Hold on, what are you? You're a.
You do
you're a
you,
Cancer?
but
you're a Cancer.
I am a Cancer.
You're a
yes.
Cancer.
Yeah.
Okay.
Irrelevant, but I am a Cancer.
And type 8 Enneagram?
Very much so, yes.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
No, sorry. What did you say? I thought you said type A. No.
8.
No.
Type
Enneagram,
8.
I'm 3 wing 2.
Oh, that surprises me.
Yes.
Okay.
It shouldn't. Read 3 again, and then you'll
I'll
be
read
like,
3 again with Diego
yeah.
in mind.
Yeah,
and
3 wing
see-
2. I thought you meant like the type
like-
A, and I'm a
no, well, type A,
ENTP,
sure.
something like that in the Myers-Briggs.
Oh, yeah. I can't get into those. The letters confuse me. No, type 8.
You are a type.
I'm a
type
type 8,
Yeah.
but I feel like some of the traits that I relate so much to you
Yeah.
about, I'm like, well, he has to be a type 8.
I would
But
explain
maybe-
that less Enneagram, more kind of like work ethics, and also finding the thrill of working,
Yes,
right?
yes.
Work
And
is fun for both of us, and
me just projecting that everybody loves work as much as me, right?
I do. I'm very well aware that it's not the case very often.
Not
Yeah,
for
yeah.
everybody. No,
Not
I
for
think,
everybody, yeah.
I think one of my favorite things with you is I'll send you a text from vacation that I have woken up on vacation.
Mm-hmm.
I'm having my coffee, ignoring my family, and checking my email, and that I feel so good about it.
Yeah.
And I feel like I have had a text like that from you, and it's
Yes,
just
and,
like,
and you will.
we're the
No
same.
no
We get
judgment.
it.
There's no judgment on
There's
the
no
other end of the
judgment.
phone. Yeah.
We can
yeah.
be our ugly workaholic selves with each other.
And in a safe space,
In a safe
where
space.
workaholism
Yes.
is
Yes.
allowed and celebrated, and and it's okay.
And talking
Yes.
about how much our spouses are not thrilled about it.
That is
Yes.
correct. Which, I mean, it's fair, but also, I mean,
No, it's
you are who you are, and that's
and also like you married this.
exactly
know?
exactly yeah.
So directly
It's
to
not
the camera. I'm going to
correct.
send that clip to my
It's
husband.
not new.
You married this. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because he knew. Because even like before we were married, before kids, whatever, it was like every night I was out of the house, like on a board meeting. I think I had like I was doing full-time real estate, but I also like knew this family with a single mom, so I was their nanny. You know, in the evenings, I'd like do real estate, go pick them up from school, like, cause you know, I got the job that is easy to go like pick
Right.
up some kids from school, start some homework, send a couple emails, but still be hustling.
good and
I feel
bad.
like-
You're always
yeah,
connected, but you
yeah.
get like I have a lot of free time for
But I
doing
can
a lot
do
of family
some
stuff,
things.
which is awesome.
Yeah.
I get to go to kids everything,
Right.
but
right.
at the same time, I can be sending emails on Sunday
You
just
could be
because
sending
I.
emails. Your kids aren't
Yeah,
on stage
yeah.
yet at the pageant, so you
Correct.
can like sit there and send emails.
the
You're
the
there,
same
you're
way that
present.
you know how you go like and just like automatically pull your phone out and you go into like Instagram or whatever.
Right,
like I
right.
probably do equal amount of time where like I just do Instagram or I go to my work email.
Right.
And I'm just
throw
like
some junk
scrolling
out.
through my work
Yeah.
email, say like, what can I work on? What can I work on?
Yes.
And yeah, that's not everyone's definition of fun. It's not always fun for me either, but there's a need to
Yes.
do it. And
Yes. I do have a rule that I don't check my email on Saturday morning because I feel like Saturday morning is sacred family time, whether we're all going to hang out on the couch and watch whatever cartoons or make some breakfast or get to a baseball game, whatever. If I wake up and get to the couch and have my coffee and start checking my email,
you get into work mode, and then there's no coming
and
back
within
from
10
that.
minutes,
Yeah,
I've pulled out the
and
laptop,
that's just
and now I'm not
It's the
helping
sixth
anybody get
work
ready
day
for a
of the
baseball
week, and
game.
yeah.
Yes, so like I have to have that specific break. Sunday afternoon, check the email, get a couple things done, go show a couple houses, absolutely. But Saturday morning, off limits. You have an off limits time?
No.
No. Okay.
I mean, not. I don't believe in having hard rules like
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Because I also believe that a lot of business opportunities
Sure.
are within being flexible, right?
Sure.
Like you may get the job, the gig. You may beat someone to that
Yeah.
job
Yeah.
if you are flexible and the other person has hard rules.
Yeah.
So like
Well-
I don't pick up the phone before or after 5.
Yeah, I'm not
maybe
gonna do that.
maybe you're gonna
'cause
sell
so
a house
much-
after 5.
Yeah, so much happens
Someone else
after
won't.
5. And I thank God for text. I don't know how I would have done this before text, but I
Right.
mean, my dad is real estate too. The phone was ringing off the hook at dinner time, and
Right.
you answer it because that's when his clients are free.
Mm-hmm.
That's when he's going to talk. to
I
them.
have a business partner now that he is, I guess, boomer generation. I guess that the political, the PC term is what?
Boomer.
Gen X.
Oh,
Gen,
okay. So he's not boomer. Gen X is younger than boomer. Gen X is like slightly
He's
older
60.
than us. I think that's
maybe?
a boomer. 60
A boomer, right? And I mean, he's very much a boomer. So like,
Yeah.
I drive him crazy because he calls me, I look at my phone, I don't answer,
Yes.
and then I text him back.
Yes.
And he cannot stand the texting. And every time he kills, so he still uses the term millennial as if we were like a new thing.
Yeah.
And it's not like we're the 40-year-olds.
We've
now.
been here for 40 years.
Right.
Yeah.
So, but that's funny how.
We are adults with families and businesses.
Yeah. And he's like, no, when in business, you have to pick up the phone all the time or things don't happen. It's like, no, that
yes
was,
and no.
that was your, you have to answer. You have to,
Yes.
you have to react
Yes.
to
And
communication, not necessarily
I like an
answer a phone
initial
call.
conversation on the phone. I like an initial. I can go either way, like their preference, but I like an initial conversation on the phone, especially as a salesperson, because like we're gonna hear some
have
things
to
about
connect,
each
yeah.
other that are unspoken on the phone or in person. Now after that, when it's like you just need a door code, or you just need I'm 5 minutes late or whatever, please text me. Please text me.
Right. And the problem with you and I also, we share a complete ADD brain, right? So it's, if you call me and suddenly we see a rabbit, then there's an hour and 45 minutes later, no work done.
Yes.
We talked about
Yes.
God knows what.
We kind of do that.
We
Yeah.
have done that a few times, right?
Yeah.
And then, so that's also probably where I protect myself from, like, if I pick up the phone, I end up in a
All the
conversation that
facts
I
are
don't
there
need to
in the text.
Yes.
Yes.
Exactly. You can
Yeah.
something
All the
that can be
facts are there in the
resolved,
text.
but yeah, I call more now, and it's funny how like you try to strategize, like who should I call, who should I
Right.
text, who's gonna
Right.
be bothered by the call.
Honestly,
And-
if they seem like they're over 60, I'm going to call.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And I think
But-
I think that's a generation that appreciates the call.
Yes.
They don't know what to do with text. I talk to your dad quite often, and it's funny because you know how this whole thing that started happening, that the thumbs up was kind of like passive aggressive,
Right,
whatever.
right.
Like most of the time when I text him, all I get,
Thumbs up.
it's a thumbs up, right? And if you don't know
Him.
the person that you're like,
The
that could
context of
feel
his
kind of like
brain.
short,
Yeah.
but it's like it's your fault if you're texting somebody that doesn't want to be texting. All they're gonna do is kind of like,
Thumbs up.
okay, if you want to talk to me, call me. If
Call
not,
him.
thumbs
yeah,
up.
Yeah. Call him. I think the passive aggressive nature of the thumbs up in the text is changing. I think now that we have the bubbles on the iPhone where we can like heart, thumbs up, whatever, I've been using it and I feel like others are too. It's sort of like acknowledges the conversation,
Right.
but also like I don't really have a response.
Right. The
to
passive
this, but
aggressive
I'm
thing now might be not
acknowledging you.
not bubbling it.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah,
And that's kinda like-
yeah. If I send something funny,
it says
and that
delivered,
doesn't
it
need a
says read.
response, and you didn't, haha.
Right. Exactly. Where's my haha? Where's my
my
question
exclamation
mark? Yeah.
points.
In a different business, I have a partner that she is definitely Gen X, and it's funny because like when we do text a lot,
Right.
and then you have to make a difference between thumbs up and heart,
Okay.
and it's kind of like, and maybe this is just part of a still not yet unlearned machismo Mexican whatever, but like you don't love things from somebody that it's not like your significant
love.
other, right? Like
Okay,
it's
okay.
like love is. I think in the
Like
U.S.
the heart is a bigger statement.
right, or like the word love in the U.S. it's like more loosely
Sure.
utilized, and so maybe there's some of that, but like it's always, I literally kind of like stop myself, like, do I like it or do I heart it? It's like, all
don't
right,
want
this
my
one.
wife to
So
see that
like
I
now,
hearted it.
now the way that I bifurcate my decision is like if we're talking work,
Business.
it's like thumbs up. And when we're like, it's all, some person's like, yeah, I'm going to go pick up my kids. And then like, I'll get to the office. Heart.
I'm using the hearts anytime a text makes me go like, oh, cute. You're going to get a heart for that.
Well, yeah, that's, I think that's what's expected.
Or is it all cute or a hell yes?
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Thumbs up is just
heart
a
is
yes.
more, exactly. It's like if
heart is going to be a hell yes.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. Thumbs up is like, I agree. Heart is like, I effing love this. Let's do it. Yeah. That too.
Wow. Okay. You're on top of 3 businesses right now.
Correct. Yes. As of 2 weeks ago, 3. Yeah.
Okay. You're from Mexico and you're in Nashville now. And what I like to know about people, especially another workaholic like me, is where does that come from? Like, did you have a lemonade stand? Were you hustling as a kid, as a teen?
Yeah. So I'll start with I'm from Mexico in Nashville now. Ended up in Nashville because we used to come, my brothers and I used to come to Nashville for summer camp to practice English. That's how you and I met.
Right.
Both of my parents are, I would definitely define them as workaholics.
Okay.
100%. My
In
mom
the most loving
always
way
had,
possible.
and I'd never mean that as an insult.
Right.
It's not. It's you care
We've
about what
already
you do.
established that.
Correct. My parents are not necessarily very entrepreneurial, and I
Okay.
think that was a little bit of a different thing. And I don't think my brothers are very entrepreneurial either necessarily. Fernando, the youngest, he is he's in academia, research,
Right.
brutally smart.
Yes.
Guillermo is very much like my dad, that it's more like it's who you want to be your right arm in any company,
Okay.
right? Like it's someone who's like incredibly loyal, dedicated, freaking smart too. Will never miss a day at work.
Right.
And I mean, they will just leave it all in the field, right? It's my dad had a couple entrepreneurial ventures when we were kids, and I remember that very fondly, right? Like it's probably one of my favorite memories of like your dad's jobs when you're growing up. That was one of kind of like, oh, that was very cool. And because I remember like he had like merch for his business and like the storage room that we had in our house, and I remember like opening that and we had like golf tees and like hats and like the swag, and I thought that was so cool.
Yeah.
I grew up in León, Guanajuato, in Mexico, which is a fairly industrial town.
Okay.
Most of my friends from León, their families are entrepreneurial, right? A lot of them is family businesses. Some of them, it was their grandfather that was entrepreneur, and then they just keep growing the business, whatnot. But the attitude itself is very much self-made, right?
Okay.
And so I think that had a huge influence in me. Growing up there, I was also kind of like a little bit of trouble kid at school.
Okay.
So there were at least 2 times that I was kicked out of 2 different schools.
Okay.
And both times I kind of like looked at my parents and I'm like, but what's the big deal?
Yeah.
I'll just start working. I'll start a business and I'm going to make more money that way than staying in school.
About
right.
Learning these things.
Correct. And fast forward a little bit during college, I started a couple like businessy things here and there and selling things. Mm-hmm. Then I ended up getting into the nightclub entertainment industry in Mexico. That was a lot of fun.
All right.
Yeah, a friend of mine and I got deep into that for a few years. It was awesome because I mean, you're young. Your job is to go to your nightclub.
Go to a party.
It's awesome.
Yeah, every single night.
And it's a lot of money, definitely for that age.
Sure.
It was a lot of money. So that was that also, I think, that helped being like, I mean, once you get a taste for that, the money part.
Yeah, hard to go back.
Right.
But then also I feel like, because I feel like I was playing with more money than a 21-year-old should be as well, just doing real estate.
Right.
Really, like in a boomy part of real estate.
Mm-hmm. I can totally see that. Yeah, I didn't make that much money.
I didn't make that much money either, but I made more money than most 21-year-olds that quit college. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And just having that money and spending it unwisely and learning early in my 20s what not to do with it, that I benefit from that today.
Yeah.
You know? And so I feel like not everybody gets that learning opportunity so early, which, I mean, most of my learning opportunity came from stock market crash and a great recession and the death of the housing market. But
Right.
having to stretch my last 20 grand over a year, whew, you learn some things.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
It is at the lows that
Yeah.
that there's more knowledge. But yeah, like for me, the road there was definitely, it was not a straight line by any means, right? So like I did that. It was a very entrepreneurial part of my life. But then I moved to Mexico City for kind of like the second half of college. I get very much into kind of like more like what my dad was, right? So my dad was like a very high level executive,
Okay.
publicly traded company, C-suite, that type of stuff. So like then that became the thing,
Yes.
right? So it's kind of like, and my dad was always around like all those other executives, whatever. So
Right.
it was like I
Business
need to be one
guy.
of those guys,
Yes.
right? But it was not the entrepreneur from Leon. That it was a little bit more industrial.
Yes.
The owner, el jefe of this and that,
Yes,
but like this was
yes.
kind of like, oh, this is it's the CEO, and they even
Yes.
use like those type
Yeah.
of terms in that scenario, where in like the industrial town, not necessarily.
Sure.
I started banking right after
right.
college. I did banking for a few years. I originally, Jamie and I moved to, or she moved back to the U.S. I moved to the U.S. for me to
Yes.
go to grad school in New
Orleans,
Orleans, and even grad school was the original project for me, right? Career-wise, it was, I'm going to go to grad school in the U.S. That's incredibly prestigious in Mexico, right? So you go back to Mexico with a gringo degree.
Also, P.S., you went to a good school.
Yes. Yeah,
grad
yeah,
school.
yeah.
You could have
100%.
gone to some state school and gotten any
Correct.
MBA.
Correct. But
You went to a good school,
and even that, like, I don't think that there's a lot of knowledge or context in Mexico necessarily for
Okay.
some of the schools. I mean,
Yeah.
you know the big names, right?
Yeah.
But my original plan was I go get that degree, I come back, and I just skip
Sure.
3-4 steps in the
Sure.
banking world, and I'm
Yeah.
I'm going to be a very young,
Yes.
high level executive, right? But of course, it came back to me halfway through the MBA. I was like, all right, F the executive career. And I started the first business that I started in the U.S. That was a very cool project. I think it was a very good idea. We never got it kind of like off the ground, really.
What was that idea?
It was called Jubbles.
Okay.
And the whole idea was to find, mind you, this is 2013, 2014. So think of a TaskRabbit type of thing.
Okay.
But the whole thing that we were doing was grabbing college students' schedules and finding small businesses that had kind of like,
Okay.
they needed staffing for
We
different
need a
like
couple
random
hours a
times.
day.
So
Yeah.
we built this website, and like the development that we did was for match people that, I don't know, if you have like Friday morning
Right.
open and
Right.
a small business in your area needs
Yes.
a hand Friday morning, we would match you, right? So there's like bubbles of opportunity,
Yeah.
like job bubbles. That's
Yes.
the Jubbles thing.
No, I like it. That's a really good concept.
It was, and I actually got to meet people that are still today in the industry, right? Like that companies that got really big. For me, it was the point that we had to kind of like either we're all in,
Right.
or what are you going to do? Because I finished the MBA. Jamie and I started planning moving to Nashville, and I remember a day very like particularly where I went to a job interview, and right after the job interview, I went to pitch Jobbles to
Okay.
a potential partner, right? And that was kind of like, well,
Yeah,
which
that's
one am
the
I?
weight.
What am I
Yeah.
doing, right? Like, am I going the entrepreneurial route, or do I just need job stability, new city, figure it out? I ended up with the latter, right? And I kind of like
Right.
I didn't know how to start Jobbles. It was also one of those things we had to develop both sides,
Right.
right? So we had to somehow attract the college population, but also
The
a
jobs.
huge amount of businesses
Yes.
that had open jobs. And
Yes.
so conceptually makes a lot of
Right,
sense.
right.
The volume that you need on both sides for actually
Yes.
having matches constantly, that was the flop premise, right?
Yeah.
So I did. So I went back to finance industry, whatnot, and after a few years there, I took a job with the city. I moved to
That's right.
public service. A
Right.
friend of mine was like, "There's a new mayor. He has this very cool idea of a performance management office. Sounds kind of like what you're doing in fintech right now. can you go meet with them and kind of like tell them what you do and give them ideas, whatnot. And it was kind of like a quasi job interview, but not very clear.
Right.
And I went for 1 cup of coffee, ended up drinking 4, and whiteboard, and I'm drawing the plan,
whole
and
plan.
and
And now you work for the mayor.
yeah. I mean, the person was my boss there, Kristin. She was same name as you. She best boss I ever had, and I keep saying this. I've said this multiple times this week.
I've heard you say it before.
But she is the reason why I don't want to ever have another boss. Right? Like
Okay. 'Cause
I
she's
peaked.
the best.
Peaked. The
Yeah.
bosses
Yeah.
in my life peaked, and
Yeah.
she is the best, and there's no match for that. That job I took without even defining pay or anything. Right? Like I went there for maybe an interview. We didn't know what it was, and I walked
Right.
out of there with a job
Right.
where, handshake, whatever, and I just walked out of there super excited. And then I called Jamie and I said, I think I work for
Yeah.
the government now. I don't know where, right? Like I don't even know that she knew I was going to go to the office, and then
didn't
she
know
was
what your
just
morning
probably
coffee
like,
was about.
like,
And
oh,
now you work
all
for
right,
the government.
yeah. And
Yeah.
at that point, we're already parents and whatnot, right? So she's
Right.
probably thinking like, dude, maybe some heads up, and
Yeah.
like let's
When there's a career change.
correct.
Yeah.
And then I went back to work because I took a couple hours off of work, and then I go back to my office and I tell my boss, then also amazing guy, and I go tell him, like, hey, John, I just took a job with the government, and he's kind of like, well, what? But after explaining what it was and whatnot,
job with the government when we
yes,
just
yeah.
created
It was
over
completely,
coffee.
but that was the thrilling part,
Yeah.
right? Like it was
Yeah.
not defined. My first task at the job was
Make the job.
write your job description and tell us what are your plans, right?
Yes.
So that was, I couldn't pass on that.
Right.
And my boss at the job, he was incredibly understanding. He likes politics a lot
Yes.
and whatnot, and he always, tracking that. And I learned so much from him too, that he said, essentially, well, go do that
Right.
just the way that you're speaking about it. You have to
that's
go
what-
do it,
yeah, credit-
and come back whenever you want. Like doors are open.
Yeah.
All
Credit
good?
to that boss, because I also have to assume that boss knows you, and to know you is like, this guy's not just gonna chill here and stop here.
Right. I mean, we
you
had worked already for
constantly-
years together. We went through a lot
Yeah.
of things together, good and bad, and I think that he also knew that I was starting to get antsy, right? Like I'm a horrible status quo manager.
Yeah.
I cannot stand when
We
things
gotta
get still
up the
and
ante
calm
every
and
time.
chill.
Yeah.
Not for me at all.
Let's do
So I
more.
need to go do some kind of trailblazing
Yeah.
stress. I like a little bit more the high speed things of the high speed nature of more like startups and
Yes.
whatnot. And that job, when I started that job, it was also a startup, but then we got huge. We got acquired 3 times. Then we were
Yeah.
like part of a huge company, and it was just, it was the perfect exec career type
Yes.
of thing. Not for me. Not
Yeah.
at all. Like literally I had like 10 days that could have been the exact same day. Whatever is that movie that like he's waking up in the same
Groundhog
day
Day?
over and over. Yes.
Yeah.
So like it kind of felt like that, right?
Yeah.
It's like it's the same clients, it's the same conversations.
Yeah.
I'm selling the same thing. Not for me.
No.
So the government gig was very interesting. That was during COVID.
Right.
So I started working at the mayor's office in Nashville, and a couple weeks in, the tornado happened.
Oh yeah.
That tornado in March.
Like, so beginning COVID.
Yes.
Yeah.
So like it was tornado, right? So like
Yes.
in East Nashville,
Yes.
a lot of our neighbors, our house
Yeah. You
got spared by like 2 or 3 houses. We had
Yeah.
we had a couple of friends living in our
Yeah.
basement for months.
Yeah.
Also during COVID, when it was
Right.
like,
when you should not have friends in your house.
and we didn't even know if because they were living in the basement, the finished
Right.
basement, and we didn't know should we cover the air vents so they don't get us sick, we don't get them sick. It was
Do
so
we know
odd.
if they're Cloroxing their vegetables?
We don't know. We
Yeah.
we didn't discuss our COVID strategies. You never knew, right? At that point, you didn't know who was going to be on your side or not, and the apocalypse. But yeah, it was a very interesting stint at work, working for the government, because it was tornado, then COVID, then a lot of civil unrest.
Yeah.
At the local politics level, it's a tax hike because there
Right.
was the Nashville's budget was not balanced.
That's right.
And there was this whole, so the
Oh my
state
God,
was
I
about to
remember
like
that.
take over budgeting for
Yeah.
Nashville because it was a little bit, I mean,
That was another run of things where it was like, we do need this, but the messaging is
it was,
poor.
I mean, it's very hard. How do you tell people in
We're
a
raising your
nice way,
taxes.
you're raising your taxes 35% or 32%, whatever it was, right?
I
And
think you tell them we're raising taxes or you guys don't get your trash picked up.
it's funny
where
enough,
we
yeah,
were.
not to get too
That's
deep
where
into
we
government
were.
job, it's
Yeah.
people, the hardest thing about working for a government is people expect things to happen,
Yes.
but it's not that easy to
Right.
think what I'm paying here makes this happen, right?
Yes.
Like it's just, everything's a given,
Yes.
and it's hard to draw the lines. A lot of my job was
That's
like
what I was
I
gonna say.
remember like
Wasn't that
we
your
created
job is
a
bridging
graph.
the gap and creating some
Correct.
efficiency.
And so it was, how do we optimize a lot of the operations? How do we save money where we shouldn't be spending it? But
Right.
also, how do we reinvest that money in things that are very effective, right? So
Right.
it was a whole ethos of invest in what works,
That's right.
a partisan
Right.
idea. And because it was not just take money away from government. It was
Right.
like,
And I remember
pull and
the
push.
deal with that job is you're creating this job and it's not specifically like for that mayor. You're not there for that mayor. This would be a job that now like
no,
lives with
the office
Nashville.
performance management continues.
Continues.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The current mayor still has
Yes.
that office. My successor is an amazing,
Great.
great for the job. Like I was very good at starting it,
Yes.
but then we started getting
Yes.
good at it and just
Yes.
repeating and whatnot. And inevitably, I just started thinking about my next business, right? And I created Nuestra, my one of the 3 current businesses, in the courthouse basement, right? Like there was some that time, whatever, and I'm just like
Started
looking up. And I
dreaming
was
up
like,
a new business.
I've been teaching financial literacy with the Hispanic community in Nashville for almost 10 years. I started that as soon as I got to
Yeah,
Nashville.
You did. Yeah.
And there was always this void gap of my community is incredibly productive, and we don't retain any of that money to become wealth. It's just
Right.
we have a lot of rich people in our community, but it doesn't create generational wealth, right? So like it didn't sit well with me. And why are we not like we should be the next wealthiest ethnic group? And so that's the whole premise of Nuestra was, well, we need to serve the underserved and provide finance solutions, finance services in
Yes.
different areas, from banking as service to lending,
Yes.
and at one point investment advisory and whatnot, right? And that was a very cool experience too. Great thing about working for government, you network
Yeah.
quite expands
At
quite a
least
bit.
in that position. Yeah.
Right. And the position that I had, I was very lucky to get to meet a lot of important people, very
Yeah.
cool people, a lot of shakers and movers in Nashville, if
Yes.
you will, and also the Nashville community, the Nashville business community has been incredibly welcoming
Right.
to me and my ideas, and I that has been awesome. I had a PowerPoint presentation. So Nuestra, it was a concept of a PowerPoint presentation, and I have 2 stories that are probably too long, but I'll tell you a little bit of both. One of them, I pitched that to one of my friends. Well, didn't pitch. I told her about my idea, and she's one of my friends from my MBA, right? She's in Central America, and her dad is a big banker in Central
Okay.
America, right? And my friend's sister came in town to bring. My friend wrote a book about financial literacy for
Okay.
Hispanics,
Okay.
and the sister brought like a lot of books that we're going to give to like in the organization
Yes.
that I teach, right? And we go out for drinks, and I'm telling her about Nuestra, and
Yes.
she's like,
Right.
you need to tell this to
This has
my
to
dad.
happen.
Like, you have to
Yeah.
pitch this to my dad. And I'm just kind of like, oh, well, what for? Right. And I didn't make too much of that. She goes back home, and then this is Sunday night or something like that. And she texts me, and shout out to Norma. She texts me, and she's kind of like, can you come like Tuesday to Tegucigalpa, right? And I'm like, and I'm legit. That's legit. Jamie and I are watching TV at night, and we're watching La Reina del Sur, right? Which is kind of like narco world.
Okay.
And then I'm like, oh, hey, Jamie, so I'm going to go to Honduras on Tuesday to meet a very important banker guy to tell him about this half-cooked idea that I have, right? Why not? So it was... So I had to lobby that part at home. Had to get a couple days off from
with three babies.
With 3 babies, yeah. I had to get permission at work to skip it a couple days, and I also went and bought a non-government laptop to actually be able to do work to formally moonlight, not to do it on the people's dime.
Yes.
I went and bought a computer, and I essentially finished the presentation, the pitch, and all that stuff on as I'm flying.
Right.
To Honduras, right?
A flight is the best time to get work done. I love a 3-4 hour flight.
It was great.
Some stuff done.
It helped me add a little bit of BS to my a little bit of fluff to the presentation. I get there, a very surreal experience. That family is amazing. They're the guy that I met, a brilliant business mind, and but I got to meet him at 11 p.m.
Okay.
Right, because he's super busy, whatever, and I'm pitching, and one thing that was awesome, he took me seriously, right? This is in the B category, and I mean, he's eating dinner, I'm eating dinner, I'm pitching in his private office and big screen, and as I'm pitching, he starts calling people into the office, and mine's 11 p.m. right, and he's
always a good sign.
Make so and so come to the office. Some of them were still in the office, so I'm surrounded by my people. Right? It's workaholics. Everyone here is just pushing as hard as they can. And long story short, essentially he said, well, I don't think this is ready for me to get involved. I'm in 10 steps ahead in the banking world. This is kind of a high risk startup, whatever. But I recommend that you do X, Y, and Z. So I got to fly back home with advice from... Right. I mean, a true master class, a private master class with probably one of the most relevant current Latin business people in the world. Okay. Right. So he's a heavy hitter, right? And then I got to that helped me also clarify what I wanted to do with Nuestro. And then I went to grab lunch with 2 friends. Well, with one friend of mine in Nashville, and we loosely talked about this, and he said, do you have a presentation for that? And I said, sure. Same one that I made on my way to meet that other guy. He said, all right, bring it with you tomorrow. We're going to go grab lunch with a couple of friends. Didn't make much of that. We're at lunch. I'm telling them about the idea, and then they're just kind of this is great. Yeah. We'll help you out. Yeah. And essentially that was a $1 million handshake, right? And $1 million lunch, if you will, and very surreal. It's not the typical startup fundraising type of story, but it was someone believed in me, and
you should do it.
And that comes with a crap ton of pressure, but it was, I mean, that made it happen, right? So I was able to start that. Since then, the road has been incredibly challenging because we chose a year to get into the banking financial services industry where the whole Silicon Valley Bank thing happened and all that. So the banking industry is having
interest rates are that high.
Crazy thing. Then right. So everything in the finance world is incredibly hard, and then we serve the immigrant community essentially. Yeah. So that's a very unknown, uncertain what's going to happen with the community that I serve, right? So, but we're still alive. We found a couple other partners that are helping us, or hopefully will help us to continue going. It will. I'm not going to let it die by any means, but we're in that point of a company's, I guess, timeline where we're at probably the most challenging part. But it's one of those things that if we make it out of this one, what we have on deck, to happen beginning 25, it's huge. Right? If we pull it off, it's off to the races. Completely different category now. It would be a huge business. That's great. But since we've been waiting for that, that's how I got to 3 businesses. Here it goes. Essentially, our new partner said, right, they're you have to wait, you have to be patient. And my initial investors and myself were not very good at being patient. So I think
not at all.
They are not, they've been very gracious.
Yeah.
But, and
luckily, they have other things to
They have
keep
other
them
things to
busy
care about,
as
and,
well.
and I don't think that I was,
because that's
yes.
what you have a pool of entrepreneur spirits there.
Exactly.
So
that is
it's
correct.
like everybody's still
Right.
Nobody's waiting on you, I feel like. You
Correct,
know?
correct, and so we started thinking, and I say we because one of the people that worked with me in Nuestro, now my partner in the second business, we started thinking like, so what are the gaps that we've seen in our clientele, and we serve a lot of Hispanic-owned businesses where they are incredibly productive, they're making bank,
Yes.
but their administrative side
Right.
blows,
Right.
right? Like they have a mess. Napkin accounting,
Yes.
or none at all,
None at
right?
all.
And then
Yeah.
you get to a point where you have to bring a very successful year of work to a CPA with
Yes.
nothing,
Napkins.
and they pay
Too much.
insane amounts
Yeah.
of money to do
Get
that.
sorted.
So we were like, all right, there's a service need. Let's
Right.
serve this businesses so they're not that unorganized. So like,
Right.
let's provide. We provide fractional administrative services for immigrant-owned businesses,
Okay.
right? So we're helping them keeping their stuff and their ducks in a row, if you will. And that business has been very successful day one.
I love that comes out of the first business because, and of course you wouldn't even think about it because it's almost natural for you to sort of just like keep records, do this, whatever. You've had
Right.
so much business school. You've watched your parents do it a certain way. You just like the admin part,
Right.
second nature,
Mm-hmm.
type A
Type A, yep.
as an apple. But yeah, and then you go create a business.
I mean, this
That
was like
almost sounds
out of
like
nowhere, right?
more successful.
And
But that's the fun part, isn't it?
And-
like
and it's-
filling in the holes.
it's symbiotic with
Yeah.
the other one, right? And,
Yeah.
and earlier we were talking about how when you're in the lowest is when you learn the most, and that also, and every entrepreneur would have to agree with this,
Yes.
is when there's no money, when you're literally hungry,
Yes.
something just kicks in, and like you
Yes.
just have to act on that, right? So
Yeah.
it was because if we're in one business is kind of like floating, figuring out what's going to happen. No income for me whatsoever from that business for a while now. So it's
Right.
like, well, I need to make money somehow, right? Like
Right.
I'm a dad. We have to pay rent, mortgage, schools, whatever, right? So the beauty of this business was that first week made money, right?
Yes.
A much easier business model than the
Sure.
other one,
No,
right?
we love
The other one
making
is
money first. Yeah.
brutally necessary, and we will get there. But this one is a little bit more, at least on the income side, short term.
They're
Yeah.
farming off of each other,
Oh,
the two. Yeah.
and it gets better.
Okay.
That's how we get to 3, right? We're at 2 right now.
Okay.
So at that point, I am thinking like, well, this is great. Now I'm offering 2 incredibly necessary things for
Sure.
my community, for my business community, where I can provide funding and capital on the Nuestro side. And now Admin Pros is our administrative fractional service work company, rather. And there, it's like, so I can help with back office and organized back office, where people that would apply for a loan with us or with someone else would have much better
ready to apply for
chances,
that loan.
whatever, right? So
yes.
we were there, and then there was one component that was missing. So, but how do I help a business grow to pay me back, or to pay back a loan that they got,
Yes.
and to make the investment in a better back office worth
Yes.
their money, right? So that's how I got to. Now I'm the proud owner of a marketing agency.
Okay.
And so it's the marketing agency that had been working with us at Nuestra, very successful.
But you were learning those lessons and doing those things as you were launching
Correct.
Business A, because you had to go figure out how to get in front of those people. 'Cause
Right,
that's
right.
not
Like
really-
it comes natural.
Yeah.
Certain parts of the business make a lot
Yeah.
of sense, and you can do it intuitively. Others, I'm learning. I'm having to
Right.
learn real fast.
Yeah.
So the person that I acquired the business from, he has been doing this for 20 years, right? So
Okay.
this is a Hispanic-owned marketing agency
Okay.
that has been around for 20
Yes.
years in Nashville, and I looked for as many as I could, and we found that one, right?
Yeah.
And they did incredible work for us. So when there was an opportunity for that, it was a no-brainer
Right.
to say, all right, yeah, like I'll acquire
we
the
go.
business. We figure out a good model that worked for both of us. So now the the whole idea is called Grupo Integra, which means integration. It's a integration group or whatever.
Okay.
And because now we have the three things, right? We have the money flow, we have the strong back office, bad administrative capacity, and now we have a tool where we can help people when they start a business just start selling, or how do you grow sales and whatnot.
Right.
So how do you grow your company on that side? And that's awesome. So now we have a trifecta there that we can offer our market and all feed from each other, right? And I've been able to partner up with incredibly business savvy people that know the community probably longer than I have, in that, well, not probably, definitely longer than I have, and that's huge. So like I'm not venturing into this fully just entrepreneurial. F it, let's try it.
I got something new for you.
Right. People that are with me in it are very, very savvy. Like they're the right people, right? So we have a crazy cool team. I have really good partners. I have amazing investors, and that's as awesome as it sounds, but it's also very unsettling, right? So it's kind of like, oh shit, don't F it up, or you're gonna like disappoint so many people. But yes. That's the imposter syndrome of every entrepreneur that starts moving up. Yeah.
Exactly. Yes. Yeah. No, I have first of all, we all have it. I talked to a friend last night that just got a promotion at the zoo because they told her she was like emotionally mature and really good at handling conflict. And she's like, you guys are crazy. But it's like, no, you're like 30. You are good at this. You are a grown up. I don't know how all of us millennials just like, I still feel like when am I going to hit that like adult feeling? Yeah.
I've been almost an adult in my mind for so long.
Owning a business. It hasn't happened by becoming a parent. It hasn't happened by owning a house. I don't know when I'm going to hit that adult feeling. I had
and this is true. This happened this morning, right?
Okay.
I'm finishing working out, and I'm like changing clothes to stop by the office, and then coming here, and there's this older guy in the locker room, right? And I'm looking at him, and like immediately, like he walks in, and I'm kind of like, hey, like this, like, look, there's like an older guy, and like good for him to keep like working out, whatever, because he looked, like some gray beard, gray hair, whatever, and he's talking to this other guy, and he's like, well, so like you got to stay in shape because kids this, kids that. And my first thought is kind of like, good for him, old guy. Or like, good for you, old guy. And then there's a mirror also there, and I just look at there, and it's kind of like, holy shit, I'm also the old guy at the gym. And that was
did you turn around into the mirror and say to yourself, good for you, old guy?
Good for you, old guy.
Good for you, old guy.
Keep it up.
You
keep
need
it up.
Those
yeah,
affirmations.
Yeah.
You know?
Sure, yeah. And as a Cancer, when I look at myself in the mirror, bullshit this, bullshit that. No, but it was a hard true moment where it's kind of like, oh man, I was like, I probably have more gray hair, gray beard at least than that guy.
Than those guys.
And he's probably a couple years younger than me. And I was like, oh, all right, go about your day knowing that you're someone, or everyone at the gym looks at you. It's kind of like
old guy.
Old man is like getting there, right?
And it's the gym. Old guy with his gray beard.
Yeah, it makes it hard to wear your hat backwards next time. Sure. So it's like, I'm gonna look like an idiot. Yeah. Because I'm the old guy at the gym.
You're the old guy.
So I need to be more careful on what I wear starting today.
At your age.
Yeah. And getting to our previous conversation now, I found the best thing to wear as an almost 40-year-old man
is the poncho shirt.
Shout out Poncho. Yeah.
We're open
to sponsor the podcast.
Sponsoring this little podcast.
Yes.
Poncho. I'll wear a poncho,
You should. They're incredibly comfortable.
Make all the male guests wear ponchos.
Or maybe you should give all of us one for coming to the show. That'd be great. Officially, anybody that wants to give me a Christmas gift. Poncho. Yes.
Also, same for my husband. Poncho.
Short sleeve. There's nothing. There's no reason to wear something else.
That is the Christmas list. Short sleeve poncho, size any color. Long sleeve poncho.
It's a little bit of a middle-aged man blankie type of thing. Because it makes you feel so masculine. It's like good.
If you're comfy, you're comfy.
You're comfy. Yeah. You're comfy, but you also look like kind of like a
You
cowboy.
look
With
very
some of
put
them look
together
very
today.
put together.
And like you guys don't have, I had a 10-minute like face, makeup, hair routine this morning. Like that's not you.
Yeah,
But
no,
you
no.
get to pick
It
out your
took
favorite
2 minutes
poncho,
and realizing that I'm the
you-
old guy to get ready today. Yeah. It was.
Thank you for not wearing a backwards hat on the podcast today.
I would never.
I would let you, but yeah.
I do,
Yeah.
but now I'm gonna be more careful about it. Yes.
Mm-hmm. At least
Lesson
not
learned.
sideways. Remember the 90s?
Yeah. Well, but
Sideways.
also, I'm a huge Limp Bizkit fan,
Okay, yeah.
and the Fred Durst
So, like
look
Yeah.
still in me. Like
It's
your
just
khaki
ingrained.
whatever pants,
Yeah.
the black T-shirt,
Absolutely.
red hat, very clean, squeaky clean white tennis shoes. That's the best look for anybody still. So yes,
for
that's
any-
that's how I show my age also,
Your age
right?
is
Because I think
dressing
he's
like-
also very gray these days.
Yeah, I think that he is.
Yeah.
I think that he is. Yeah. Yeah. You need to come to one of Alex's shows. Shout out Original Self.
I do. I think it's awesome
They
that
love a Limp Bizkit cover at the end of a
There you
set.
go.
Spoiler alert. But no, I think you would enjoy it.
I know I would. I think
Yeah.
it's one of those like very it's a fascinating fact about him that
About
like knowing him because
my-
like he's an accountant.
My poncho wearing
Accountant
accountant
that also
that
like
also
he may audit
plays
you, but
bass
he might
guitar,
rock
but he
your
might
life.
rock your face off.
yeah. That's he hides his metal self very well in his accounting hours.
Yes.
But it's very cool
He
that he
does.
has that duality.
But it's also like what I have discovered, because I'm not a metal fan in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah, none of us thought you were. Yeah.
Right. Thank you. And I love their music. I love it.
Well, slight bias, but good.
I mean, maybe, but I would have never heard
Because
it
it's good,
otherwise.
because
If
it's
I
good.
wasn't
Exactly,
married
exactly.
to
You wouldn't
the
have given the
bass player, I
opportunity.
would not have had the opportunity
Fair.
to hear it. But they are really like, they're all our age, and so there are aspects to each song that are from all genres of music. It just comes out metal, but it's good.
Good for them.
What I also love is they're always playing on a Saturday night, and I don't have to be out at a show on like a Thursday,
That's
I want to
that is
support
good.
local music, but I need it to happen on Saturday and Sundays and like as early as possible.
That's
I will be there. So you got 3 businesses, you got 3 kids, you're one of 3 kids. You like the number 3.
I like the number
That's not
3.
an official-
I have never thought about it that way, but yeah, I like
You're
the number
very
3
comfortable
in threes.
in 3s.
Yeah,
3's
that's
a strong
interesting.
number. I really, even just setting up this, I need 3. 3 is an appropriate.
Well, maybe there's something to that.
Balance
My
of
mom
things.
always had 3 of things in our
3 of
house because there were
things.
3 of us.
Oh, well, yeah, you got to have 3 of
and
things. You
and now
can't-
I think I do it too.
You
Yes.
have 3 of. Well, you
Interesting.
have 3 girls, so you gotta have 3 of things. You like. I can imagine you don't want to. Like it's minimal arguing between all the women in your house as possible. Like just make there be 3 of them. They're still gonna fight, I'm sure.
Yesterday last
Constantly.
night we had the very first like crazy fight.
Crazy?
There was blood. There was screaming.
No, there was blood.
Both parents, we were both so confused.
Oh,
like, how do we go about
God.
this? Do we what do we
Where
do?
did we go wrong?
It was not that so much. It was literally like, what do we do? This has never happened before. And then someone's bleeding over there, and then this one's telling me one story, this one's telling me another story. Who do we believe in? And I'm like, shit.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's
What were they fighting about?
American Girl dolls.
Love. Okay.
And
Yeah.
apparently the
That's-
conflict went from doll
First
to
of all, that's
real to
worth
real kids. Yeah.
Fighting over. Tooth and nail.
Apparently everyone in my house thinks so.
Yes.
Yeah.
I agree. I agree. I would have been
There
there
you go.
cheering somebody on. Probably Luna.
So funny enough, she was not involved in the fight physically, but she was the one screaming the loudest. And it was like I laugh now, but it was very interesting. I always tell my daughters this thing's kind of like, whatever you tell me, I believe you. Like
Yes.
even if you tell me a lie, I don't give a shit. I believe you,
Yes.
and I will always believe you.
Yes.
You always come to
Yes.
that, and like that
Yes.
will believe
Tell
you.
me the things.
Only you.
Yeah.
which has gotten very interestingly tricky having 3 daughters.
3
But
stories.
sometimes there's conflicting stories, and they're just kind of like, you told me you're going to believe me always.
I
Why are you
know,
believing my
yeah.
sisters? Kind of like, well, I believe both of you.
Yeah.
So why don't you guys both tell me the truth?
But I think that everyone is entitled to the truth of their own personal experience.
We all have our own
so,
truth. Yeah.
You know, and don't you find that with your siblings as well? Because I do, and there's only one, is having the same memory of something.
Right.
And his experience of
Can be completely different.
the same
Yeah.
memory. And I'm like, and just the parts of the memory that he retained and the parts that I did not, where I'm just like, no, that wasn't how it is. That's not what any of that meant. Except he fully believes, and it is part of his core, that is how things are.
That's how it happened. Yeah.
Yeah.
We all have our own versions of
All that.
the truth.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then we make memories be kind of what we want them to be and not what they
Based
were.
on those truths. Yeah. You know? And you girls are doing the same thing. You're watching it happen in real life.
Yeah. The one
Yeah.
thing that I don't have 3 of is I don't own 3 properties.
Yeah, I know.
I'm a 2.
The goal has been one more.
One more eventually, yeah.
For Luna.
We'll see how we can. Well, technically, I will never go on the record that if we don't get a
That
third,
it's for Luna. that she doesn't get one.
too
She got
bad.
to share one.
Too
with
bad. Number
Laura.
3.
Yeah.
No. It's the
Go crash in Sienna's
That was
room.
kind of like a thing that my parents were always thinking. Kind of like we want to make sure that like we help your future with
Yes.
this thing, and that's something that I'm trying to not do it
And to be able
identically.
to help each three, like
But
all three
somehow,
of you.
like if you own a property per child, it
It's-
should be helpful long
Right.
term. Very helpful in so many ways, right? It's, of course, getting to that amount of properties is incredibly hard. Number one,
well-
and it's a business of opportunity
Yeah.
and getting so lucky, right? Like
Yes.
if you remember correctly, Mitchell,
So lucky.
it had been in the market for 60 days.
Yes.
and
which
I
was
I
really
had to
not a
convince
thing at
you.
the time. I know.
I had to convince you to go look at the house. I went to look at it by myself,
I can't
and then I brought you
remember
the second time.
why I wasn't into it. I think
It had been 60 days in the market,
I
and there
think-
was
I
no
think that
evident
was-
reason
I
what
know.
for.
I think that
Yeah.
was the thing. That was why, because it was.
It didn't make sense.
It
but,
was a
yeah.
time in the market where things were like couple weeks, it's gone. So
We
you
looked at
like,
a couple houses with you before that.
Yeah.
And there was one that you and I went to look at, and then by the time we got Jamie to come with us look at it, it
'Cause
already had
that
an
was
offer and
the
it was already
speed-
accepted.
That
Yeah,
was
yeah.
the speed of the market at the time.
then this
so
one
when
had
you
been
showed
in the
me
market so
60
long, yeah.
days, I was like,
There
contempt
has to
prior
be something wrong. Yeah.
investigation, 100% not.
Yeah.
And there was things wrong with it, but we got them fixed.
Yeah.
You know, like
Yeah.
it just wasn't as turnkey as maybe we all thought y'all needed.
Right.
Because I remember that one needed a roof, but we got the roof on before closing. And then you guys did a ton of work to it. Like that,
we did.
that basement was completely
yeah, we invested in it. What felt quite a bit at the moment,
Yeah.
but also, I mean, how things in real estate can work to your advantage. And again, no credit to any particular investment strategy.
Right.
It's just moment
No,
in time,
I think-
right?
I
Like
think
if you
even
go
if
in
you
the right
had
time,
never
yeah.
touched it. You never finished because didn't it not have a ceiling in the basement or something?
It did. It just had like a very low ceiling, so we
Yeah.
had to like go
You
up,
raised
and
the
we did a lot of
ceiling,
work
you
with the basement.
refinished the
Added a lot of
fronts.
square footage that
Yeah.
counted as part of the, I guess the it's not valuation, the appraisal of the house. But if you look at that, like how that mounted up to where we got to today was, we got that house for under 300. And then we did the HPR, and then we were able to get into a house. I didn't finish this part of the story earlier, but that we got for $550.
Right.
But
That is easily today.
the seller essentially twisted my arm to sign the contract, and I had to sign the contract online while sitting at the airport in Mexico City. And I said, like, can you wait for me to go back? Like, I'm flying back. I'll be
5
there
seconds.
tomorrow.
Right.
And it was like, no, it's like now or there's a line, right?
Oh,
and
okay.
So it was literally
Which
one of
they
those
did.
things
They
that like,
were a good
and I couldn't
product,
until
like-
like call Jamie to just kind of like, and we were like pretty much decided we were going to do it. It was
Right.
like, all right, F this, go.
Do it.
Sign the contract, whatever, fly back, where everything. And literally like 3 weeks later, it's when lumber prices went crazy high.
Yeah.
And we had already
The prices
closed for
on those
$550.
houses were going to be insane.
And it went up quite a bit, right? So by the
Yeah.
time that we moved in,
Right.
our appraisal was already
Right.
way higher than
Right.
the
Right.
price that we got it for. So that was another very lucky
Yeah.
move. And now because of that initial house and Mitchell Road, now we've built
You have some great
so much equity.
You have some
And,
great
and that
equity,
has
a
that
good
has
look
worked
in
our
net worth.
advantage. Yeah.
And I feel like, your third house and your fourth and your fifth and whatever will come in similar.
Right. I think
Opportunity
I've learned
waves,
at least that lesson. So like it's
to
not
just trust the process.
it's not a business that you push
Right.
for. It's a
Right.
business that you wait for.
Yes.
Which
100%
it's
it is.
I'm not probably as good on
The
that
waiting?
strategy, but at least the good thing is that I don't have an option because I don't have money to just go around and buy houses.
Right. And
Yeah.
I really think your next step or the step after that needs to be, I would love to see you guys back at Mitchell in a new house.
We'll see.
You know? Like I
We'll
would
see.
Jamie deserves her dream.
She does. It's just that we'll see if Mitchell
Entertainment house.
more good to give us. It's just like that poor old lady. She was built in
I know.
1954.
She's done so
and she has
well.
provided so much for us.
She has.
So much for us.
Yeah.
And I don't know if we need to be asking more of her.
Oh, I
We'll
think
see.
we
We'll
could.
see what we do with her.
I don't know.
But
I
yeah,
like it.
great investment. We got so
No, it's
lucky.
been good.
There's the other side, of course, in Nashville that we got so lucky, right? And now it's incredibly hard for people that, I mean, our age then.
Yes.
You're 30, early
Yes.
30s. You're trying to buy
I
a
mean,
house. You're
just
having children,
to
and
try to get East Nashville under 400 right now. Not
I
even.
mean, if you get something that
it's not going to be like
that it's
Mitchell.
actually
It's not gonna
livable
be the
under
square
500 is hard.
footage. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you guys, and I think that's what you guys had that I was missing when we initially saw it online, but you could see inside the house,
Yeah.
was all the untapped square footage because it had the weird attic room
Yeah.
and the
A
basement.
huge basement. Mm-hmm.
I mean, that.
And a garage there.
Because your typical ranch, if it was not on the side of a hill, is just 2 bedrooms, a bathroom.
Right.
Like a typical house
Right,
that looks
right.
like that. But you guys had.
It was a crazy good opportunity, and
Yeah.
I'm very grateful that I got very stubborn
I'm
and
very
I
grateful
dragged you
that
in there.
You wanted to see that.
Yeah, that's do you remember you gave us this drawing of the Mitchell Road house as a gift when we moved in, and that's still one of like my favorite
As it should be.
mementos.
Yeah.
Not only because it's a beautiful drawing, but
Right.
it was like a sign, right? It's like this Mitchell
This
Road house
the
is going to like
house.
change your
This
life
is
in
the
so
one
many
that
ways. It has.
No, it really did.
Right. I mean, like
And I feel
all of
like
our 3
it's-
kids born in that
yeah.
house, but then, I mean, economically, it has been incredibly beneficial to us, and it has produced other things, right? And that's from financial stability to opportunity,
Yes.
great memories, moments, and maybe it will continue to give. We'll see.
I know, but that's also why, something my dad drilled into me was you have to buy a house before you're 30. Which I think, was that probably our 30th year? Yeah. Yeah, 2016, 30.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Buy
turned
the
30 that
house-
year.
Buy a house by the time you're 30. Because if you have a 30-year mortgage, it's completely paid off by
Right.
the time you're 60. If you never do anything else with it.
Right.
You have
What
paid for.
What would you
roof
tell
over your
somebody that
head.
is 30 right now in Nashville? Like,
It's still possible, and it's not. And I also think that right now, today, November 2024, I am seeing prices become more reasonable. Sellers are still listing a little bit higher. They want to play the game now
yeah.
of the negotiation.
I'm going to disagree a little bit with the reasonable prices. I think that they stopped going up so fast, so
Right.
they're somewhat
Right.
stagnant, right?
Okay,
And we
that's
got
fair.
used to it. Like, we made peace with the idea that
yeah.
a
Are we
house in
gonna
Nashville
find
is going to be close to $1 million, and that's it.
280,000
Yeah,
livable ranch with bonus square footage in East Nashville? No.
it doesn't exist anymore,
No.
right? So I think that we adjusted to reality, but it did stop, and maybe interest rates go down
Yeah.
because I think that's what's keeping people out, right?
And
Like
I
it's
think,
the mortgage payment that it's huge
little
right
crazy.
now. If you already have to overspend in a house, but like to get in, but like interest rates right now makes what would be a much more doable transaction
With
if you
the
were
interest rates.
1.5 percentage point down, right, in interest rate.
I think even
today it makes it impossible.
1% down
Yeah,
would be ideal.
huge.
Yeah.
I think that once that happens, because I think that's going to happen within a year.
But then you're going to see the prices go up again. And it'll be the same
But
mortgage
there comes the
payment.
opportunity. Like there's going to
That's
be
right.
a window,
You gotta
right? Like there's going to be
right
a
in
window
there
where
on
it's
the
like you have
upswing.
to be, you have to risk a little bit and see where you get into it
Right. And
quickly
I think
before
that's
before
the
everyone
same thing.
notices that it's happening.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's the same thing why I would say to go ahead and buy the house now, even if you
Right, because you marry the
only
house,
doing-
not the loan, right? Like you
Marry the
you're
house,
buying
not
the
the
house, not the loan,
rate.
because you're going to always refinance. Yeah.
and your equity will go up.
Mm-hmm.
Even if interest rates don't come down, your equity will go
Right.
up.
And value will hold for
Yes.
like to the very least.
Yes.
The value of the house will hold
Yes.
true for
Yes.
eternity.
Yes. Even because I've done real estate through the Great Recession too, watching home values come down so much, and then still that cycle for Nashville to get back to a certain level
Mm-hmm.
was really only 3 years. Did some people suffer greatly in those 3 years? Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
But as far as home value, you know, if you can afford it where it is now and it loses value, that cycle will. And I
Yeah.
think 3 years was a relatively quick cycle. It didn't feel like it by any means.
For right now, I think hopefully this is a prediction,
Mm-hmm.
but at least it's it's hope that I see in what we're saying, like something that might not make all this property go crazy. Like once interest rates go down
Right.
to prices to go up, I hope, but I also think that it will be the inventory is going to be a little bit
Yes.
larger, right? Because you have the whole East
Yes.
Bank project.
Yes.
And there's a lot of there's going to be a lot of units there, right? Like in the
And
thousands.
Just the fact that we've just now gotten to a sustainable amount of inventory.
Right.
And that we have so many houses for sale and not enough buyers, and that inventory is stabilizing.
Mm-hmm.
Because 2016, when you got that first house, not enough inventory.
No inventory.
Not enough
Mm-hmm.
inventory. 2020, zip on inventory,
Mm-hmm.
which is what made those things go
Go
nuts.
crazy high,
And
yeah.
so that's another different argument for snatch up a piece of inventory now, because eventually it will be scarce,
Mm-hmm.
and you will be sitting on the thing that people need and the thing that people are willing to pay
Right.
double what you paid for it,
Right.
or even half of what you paid for it for your backyard. You know, like that's to get more inventory.
Yeah, but hopefully it is a prediction, right? And there's enough inventory to at least hold prices at a
At a certain
somewhat achievable level for
yes, well, and if not,
a group
even more.
of-
Like if interest rates all of a sudden we wake up tomorrow and it's 5%, then you're also going to have this huge swath of people that said we've been waiting for this to list our house. So now you have even more inventory,
right.
and that price is going to hold at least. Like, so I believe that you will be able to, if you're watching for it, see that part of the curve
Right.
that you want to be in for the
Yeah,
opportunity.
I think there's going to be a window where there's going to be good, and then it's going to
Yep.
get.
And
I mean,
then
like
it's gonna
always, right? Like
just keep doing that.
once it's good, it gets complicated when enough people realize it's getting good.
The last thing
Why Nashville? We're going to talk why Nashville.
is yes, because I mean I know you guys are here. You have
I'll tell
tons
you
of-
a whole thing that I prepared when I was invited to Tennessee Latino Voices with a
Okay.
Tennessean. Yes,
Tell us that.
I'll tell you that. So and part of my thing, which is true, right? But like I had to do a lot of kind of like thinking and how I was going to explain the context of Latino in Tennessee, right? And the why Nashville was definitely part of the structure of my talk, right? It's not like a TED talk, but like you get to share about yourself and your life story and kind of like how did you get to Tennessee
Right.
and whatnot. And in there, and I'll share the piece about Nashville, right? To me, part of that entrepreneurial spirit, I always had this feeling about moving, right? Like I always wanted to see like something else. And then
Yes.
I love Leon, but then it felt small for me. So I
Right.
went to Mexico City, and then
Yes.
Mexico City felt small for me. So like, let's go out to a different country, right?
Yes.
And in Nashville, it has been, and we have all that background context where like we used to come here, we have friends, like I've known you for
It's
like
comfortable.
20 years, right? And I've
my
known other
God.
people for
I feel like
like
I'm looking at the
25
old man
years.
in the mirror.
Exactly.
Jeez.
And but Nashville, I think that I got very lucky to get to Nashville when I did.
Yeah.
Because I think that moving from New Orleans to Nashville, it was kind of like, Nashville's going to be fun. Nashville's kind of
It's
like
chill.
happening and it's
Yeah.
going to be cool. We'll see what happens. And then I got here and everything that was happening and how I've been able to kind of like insert myself in the Hispanic community and
Yes.
then like learn how to be proud of my Latinity without
Yes.
like belonging to that community and be able to work with that, right? So it's, I also, why Nashville, the first thing that I would say is because I think Nashville is going to be the epicenter of the Latino Renaissance. And what I mean
Okay.
by Latino Renaissance is, if you look statistically in how the Hispanic or Latino population in the U.S. is growing, and Nashville is the perfect place for that, right? So you have a place that continues to grow, not
Yes.
only in the tourism side, but in so many other industries, even when there has been all these other
Yes.
like macroeconomic issues, right? And then our population here is incredibly diverse, different countries, different
Yes.
styles of doing things, but it's incredibly rich when it comes to the diversity. I say this a lot too, right? Like this should say plenty to whoever wants to believe in my theory of the Latino Renaissance. There's not a single building that has been built in Nashville in the past 20 years that wasn't built with Latino hands.
I agree.
Period. Right?
Yeah.
So then, but all those are also, a lot of them are business owners.
Yes.
And we're a critical part of the local economy.
Yes.
And go on, right? So as Nashville continues to grow, and I think it will continue to grow like no one's business, the Latino community here will grow with it. It already did.
Yes.
It will I think it will grow disproportionately when it comes to relevance and influence. And I have to be here for that, right? So
You
like
have to.
Nashville is the first place that I feel that I'm growing enough roots
Yes.
that if a shiny opportunity goes in front of me, I'll be like, you would have been cool, but Nashville is
the
home.
thing.
Nashville is home. Here's where
Yeah.
my kids were born.
Yes.
Here's where I want to be. I think Nashville is the best and coolest city in the world, period. And
I've
I
always
wouldn't
felt
be
like
anywhere else.
Nashville is a Renaissance city anyway, because we are filled with creatives.
Correct.
We are filled with industry.
Mm-hmm. There's a lot of money here too that makes all these things happen at a
Yes.
speed that
Yes, and
it's
people
not
wanna
the same everywhere.
Bring more money here
Mm-hmm.
to see it continue. And as much as we want to complain about Nashville's growth sometimes, and I do, there are parts that I miss, but is that just my nostalgia
Right.
as someone born
As
and
an
raised
OG
in the
Nashvilleian,
city?
yeah.
Because the trade-off is, when I was younger, I didn't want to be here. I wanted to be in a bigger city.
Right.
I was willing to go starve and not know anyone to be in a bigger city.
Right.
But then I found by the time I was ready to go,
The city had grown enough to keep you here. Yeah. Yeah.
has enough going on, because we didn't have squat going on, Diego.
Right. But also it's not that big yet that we can
Right.
still kind of drive our own destiny. And
Right.
that's why I love about the opportunity that we have in Nashville today, right? Is I truly romantically believe that we get to choose our destiny as a city right now, because it's not
That's
all
what
in
makes
concrete.
you a Cancer, by the way. Just
I reject this comment. It's what makes me a proud Nashvilleian.
No.
Once
that
I cross a
belief
10-year mark
was,
in Nashville, I'm an
oozing.
OG Nashvilleian, and I'm not a Cancer. I'm a Nashville resident, a proud one. Nothing to do with zodiac signs.
Anyways, I just had to let you know.
Yeah,
that
thank you.
was
Thank you for that.
your
Thank you for
zodiac
making me
sign
uncomfortable
shining
about my
through
zodiac
with
reasons to be.
a little bit of emotion. Yeah.
No, but that's how I would. That's probably a very the spurious answer to why Nashville, but
No, I love it.
I kind of like ended up here by serendipity to some
Sure,
degree, but
sure.
now it feels kind of like it was meant to be,
Yeah.
and I've embraced it, and I love it, and I'm like,
And I feel
I
like
want to
Nashville
die here.
immediately just put arms around you, you know?
yeah,
That,
yeah.
Like it was not hard for you guys to fit in here. I mean, yes, it helped that you have the social circle here, but I feel like, I mean, I was seeing you plenty
Yeah.
when you guys didn't
And-
live here.
right.
You know? 'Cause
And to
you gotta go
give
New
you
Orleans every
very
once in a while.
dramatic, very pro Nashville piece of content.
Yes.
As part of the immigrant life experience,
Mm-hmm.
there's this thing where, you know, like, well, you come to this country and you work and you improve, you know, like your life's your family's life quality
Mm-hmm.
and whatnot. But it's almost like a rule that when I die, there's even multiple songs, right? Like and different genres. It's like, when I die, like, take me back home, right?
Okay.
Like my body, my ashes,
Yes.
yes. Like, send it back home.
Yes.
I've gotten to a point where I live at a constant dichotomy when I was like, I don't necessarily want my remains to go back home because this is home, right? So like I'm at a point where, like, I want to be buried in Nashville.
Yes.
Maybe half and half. Send half of me to Mexico.
That's valuable real estate.
But I know it's a deep thought for a question of why Nashville. But like
No.
I got to a
No,
point where, like, I
feel
want to
it
be.
was a- it
My
was a good
formal
one.
statement
This
is,
home.
I
Yeah.
want to stay here because this is home, right?
Yeah.
And this is
Yeah, and your legacy
this is where I want to
here.
accomplish
You got-
everything that I'm supposed to accomplish. It should be here. Yeah.
You got 3 girls here. Like, what are the chances that all 3 of them go make home somewhere else? Which would be great, but I feel like there's enough here for them to do and
Right.
grow into. And
The only way
create
that
for
they
the
will all
city.
3 have homes here is if I buy those homes now.
Correct.
Because who knows where the
Yes,
economy
yes.
is going
We're
to be
gonna
in
get right
15
here,
years.
and we're gonna go buy Little Luna.
Yeah,
a
that's what we
house.
secure their
Yes.
their livable quarters. Yes.
Yes. Yeah. Who knows what they'll be trying to afford when they're 30. Yeah. Okay. Well, thanks for coming.
Of course. Thanks for having me.
You're one of
My
my,
pleasure.
good friends, and I'm glad that you got a lot to say. You got a lot to bring to Nashville. Like,
I hope so. I hope there's a lot more to offer too.
yeah. And I hope we keep giving back to you as Nashville.
You better.
Yeah, I know,
Yeah.
right? Another house, an affordable one, under 300 in East Nashville.